They hurt me deeply, but God lifted me higher. The people I trusted the most, the ones I would have taken a bullet for, they were the ones who pulled the trigger. I remember the day clearly. My heart wasn't just broken, it was shattered, and I questioned everything, including God. But what I didn't know then was that their betrayal wasn't the end of me, it was the beginning of something greater. If you've ever felt abandoned, betrayed, or wounded by the very ones who claim to love you, this message is for you. Because I'm here to tell you the pain they caused wasn't pointless. In fact, it was necessary. Necessary for God to lift you to the place they were never meant to go with you. Don't click away. Don't scroll. What you're about to hear might just explain everything you've been going through and why God allowed it. Betrayal comes from those closest to us, not from strangers, not from enemies, but from the ones who knew us deeply, the ones we shared our secrets with, the ones we prayed for, gave to, laughed with, and trusted with everything. That's why it cuts the way it does, because it wasn't supposed to come from them. You expect opposition from the outside, but when the attack comes from the inside, from your own circle, that's a different kind of wound. Sometimes it starts subtly, a shift in tone, a change in loyalty, a quiet competition. Other times it's loud and ugly, a lie, a betrayal, a stabbing of the heart with words that echo in your soul. And you sit there thinking, how could they do this to me? You replay moments in your mind, trying to figure out what went wrong. You question yourself, you blame and worst of all, you lose a piece of your innocence. The part of you that believed love from them was real, that friendship was forever. It's easy to become bitter, easy to close your heart, to vow never to trust again. But I want to tell you something most people won't. Sometimes God allows the betrayal not to break you, but to show you who was never meant to go where He's taking you. It hurts now, but one day you'll look back and realize it was necessary. You see, God doesn't always expose people through lightning and thunder. Sometimes He lets them show you who they are through their own choices. And when they hurt you, they think they've won. But what they don't realize is they just disqualified themselves from access to your next season. Their betrayal is their exit sign, and God will use their betrayal as a bridge to your breakthrough. You're not alone in this pain. Some of the greatest people who ever walked this earth were betrayed deeply, painfully, and yet it didn't stop their purpose. In fact, it became the push they needed. You must understand that God sees what you can't. He knows the conversations behind your back, the intentions behind their smiles, and the jealousy behind their compliments. And in His mercy, He allows the truth to surface. Not to hurt you, but to free you. So yes, they hurt you, they disappointed you, but you're still standing, you're still breathing, and that means your story is not over. That wound, it will heal. And when it does, it will leave behind a scar, a mark not of pain, but of strength, a reminder that you made it through what should have broken you, And not only did you make it, but you're rising higher than ever because God doesn't just mend the broken, He elevates them. God allows pain to reveal purpose. That's a hard truth to swallow, especially when you're in the middle of it. When the tears haven't dried, when the betrayal still stings, when your heart still wakes up heavy. But the truth is, not all pain is punishment. Some pain is preparation. Some pain is divine strategy. Sometimes God lets what you love break apart so He can introduce you to what you were truly born for. We often pray for purpose. We ask God to use us, to take us higher, to show us His plan, but we rarely expect the road to that purpose to be paved with heartbreak, loss, and disappointment. And yet those very moments, the ones that made you cry in silence, that made you question your worth, that made you wonder why, it's those moments that are shaping you for something greater. God does not waste pain. Every ache, every rejection, every sleepless night is being used for a reason. Sometimes we only discover our true calling when everything else falls apart. When people leave, when the job ends, when the plans fail. What's left is often the beginning of what God always intended. You may not see it now, but pain has a way of stripping away the unnecessary. It humbles you. It deepens your faith. It silences the noise so you can finally hear God's voice without distraction. You've got to understand something powerful. The people who hurt you, the situations that crushed you, they didn't catch God off guard. He saw it coming. And in His infinite wisdom, He allowed it. Not to destroy you, but to define you. He's not interested in who you were before the pain. He's interested in who you're becoming because of it. The old version of you couldn't carry what He's about to place in your hand. But the healed version, the wiser version, the stronger, more focused, spiritually grounded version, that's the one who's ready for destiny. Pain has a way of awakening things inside of you that comfort never could. It shakes you, yes, but it also shifts you. It pulls you out of places you would have stayed too long. It closes doors you wouldn't have dared to close. And sometimes it sends you running straight into the arms of God, where you find that what you lost was nothing compared to what He's about to reveal. So if you're hurting right now, if you're wondering why God allowed it, hold on. Don't give up in the middle of the storm. Because buried underneath the ashes of that pain is the seed of your next chapter. And when the time is right, it will grow into something so beautiful, so powerful, that you'll look back and thank God, not for the pain, but for the purpose it revealed. Your worth isn't defined by people's actions. One of the biggest lies pain tries to convince us of is that when someone mistreats us, ignores us, or walks away from us, it must mean we're not valuable, that we weren't enough, that something's wrong with us. But that's not the truth. People's inability to love you properly does not decrease your worth. Their failure to recognize your value doesn't make you less valuable. It simply reveals their lack of discernment. You can be pure-hearted, loyal, and filled with love, and still be overlooked, rejected, or taken for granted. That's not a reflection of your identity. It's a reflection of their perception. And perception is not reality. Just because they couldn't see who you were doesn't mean you weren't chosen. Just because they walked away doesn't mean God did. In fact, sometimes He allows people to walk out so your confidence can finally be built on Him, not on human validation. Too many people live under the weight of someone else's mistreatment. They carry around invisible chains, trying to prove themselves to those who left, waiting for closure from people who never valued them to begin with. But healing begins the moment you stop letting broken people tell you what you're worth. You don't need to chase their approval. You don't need to get even. You don't need to explain yourself. You were valuable before they hurt you, and you're valuable now. Nothing they did changed that. And if we're being honest, many of the people who walked away weren't rejecting you. They were reacting to the light inside you. Some people are intimidated by authenticity. Some can't handle the calling on your life. Some aren't ready for the level of truth and maturity you carry, and instead of growing with you, they choose to pull away, to attack, to devalue. Don't take it personally. Their departure wasn't an insult, it was protection. God doesn't need everyone to believe in you for His plan to work. He just needs you to believe what He already says about you. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are chosen. You are not a mistake. You are not too much. You are not too broken. And you are not what they said about you. You are who God designed you to be. On purpose. So, lift your head. Stop shrinking to fit into spaces that can't handle your truth. Stop trying to convince people to see what God has already confirmed. They didn't define your value, so they don't have the power to diminish it. Your worth was set by the one who created you, and nothing, no rejection, no betrayal, no insult, can undo what He's declared over your life. Let that be your confidence. Isolation precedes elevation. It's one of the most misunderstood seasons in life, the moment when everything becomes quiet, when the people you thought would always be there suddenly disappear. When the phones stop ringing, the invitations stop coming, and you feel like you've been forgotten. But the truth is, you're not being punished. You're being positioned. Sometimes God isolates you not to break you, but to build you in private. There are moments in life when you have to be pulled away from the noise so you can finally hear what matters. When God is about to elevate you, He often separates you because growth doesn't happen in the crowd, it happens in the quiet. When distractions are removed, when you're forced to confront yourself, when you realize that who you are when no one is watching matters more than who you pretend to be when everyone is applauding. God will strip away your dependence on people to remind you that your foundation must be Him. And it hurts. It feels lonely. But that loneliness is doing something deep. It's refining your character, purifying your motives, and preparing your heart for what's coming. Because the next level can't be built on weak foundations. He's not just elevating your position, He's strengthening your soul. Sometimes He allows the crowd to thin out because the weight of your calling can't be carried by everyone. Not everyone can handle the version of you that's about to emerge. Some people loved the insecure you. Some felt comfortable when you were broken, easy to control, easy to overlook. But now God is raising you, healing you, and calling you to stand in your authority. And that version of you will always be too much for the ones who benefited from your weakness. So instead of mourning who left, ask God what He's trying to show you in the silence. Because in isolation, he reveals things no crowd ever could. He shows you your strength. He teaches you to rely on his voice above every other. He reminds you that approval is not your source. He is. And when that lesson sinks in, when your heart becomes anchored in him, nothing and no one will be able to shake you again. Don't rush the season of isolation. Don't despise it. Embrace it. Because what God does in secret, he will soon reveal in public. And when he does, those who doubted you, left you, and dismissed you will see the evidence of God's hand on your life. The same silence that made you feel forgotten will become the stage God uses to display his glory through you. You are not being buried, you are being planted. And when the time is right, you will rise, stronger, wiser, and ready for everything God has prepared. Elevation always exposes intention. As you grow, as you rise, as God begins to move in your life, something happens. You start to see people differently, not because they changed, but because success reveals what struggle hides. When you were at your lowest, some stayed close, but not out of love, out of comfort. They weren't threatened by you. They didn't feel small around you. But the moment God started lifting you, the moment you found clarity, direction, peace, the moment God started lifting you, the moment you found clarity, direction, peace, their tone shifted, their energy changed. And suddenly the ones who once clapped for you became silent. Don't ignore that shift. Because when you step into a higher place, it doesn't just elevate your life, it reveals the truth around your relationships. Some people are connected to your pain, not your purpose. They only felt bonded to you when you were broken, when you needed them, when you questioned your worth. But when you healed, when you started believing in yourself, when your faith got stronger, your circle got smaller, and that's not a loss, that's divine filtration. God uses elevation to reveal what you couldn't see at ground level. He shows you who can go with you and who can't. Not everyone in your history belongs in your destiny. Some were only assigned to the chapter you've already finished. And it's painful because your heart wants to carry everyone with you. But your purpose has weight, and not everyone is built to help carry it. Some will envy what they didn't endure to earn. They'll resent the favor they never fought for. They'll see your elevation as a threat, not a testimony. But hear this, God is not calling you to shrink so others can feel safe. You don't have to apologize for the doors he's opening. You don't have to downplay your growth to keep insecure people comfortable. Real friends won't compete with your calling. They won't secretly hope for your downfall. They'll pray with you, grow with you, and celebrate with you because they're secure in their own path. And those are the kind of people you need in the next season. So don't be discouraged by the shift. Don't cry over the people who start distancing themselves when you start rising. It's not rejection, it's revelation. It's God clearing the space for the ones who are aligned with your purpose, who see your value, and who will love you without condition. Your elevation is not just a blessing, it's a filter. And when it reveals who's really for you, thank God for the clarity. Because the higher he takes you, the more you'll need people around you who can handle the altitude. Let go of the ones who can't breathe. Where God is taking you, the lifting of God is not always loud. It's often quiet, steady, and undeniable. When people hurt you, when they talked behind your back, when they rejected you or walked away, they might have thought that was the end of your story. They might have believed their actions would break you. But what they didn't realize was that the very moment they were trying to push you down, God was already planning your comeback. And when God lifts you, no person, no betrayal, no loss can stop it. You see, God doesn't lift like man does. People will only lift you when they like you, when you benefit them, or when it serves their image. But God lifts you because He's placed something inside of you that the world needs. And when your time comes, no lie told about you, no plot formed against you, no rejection thrown at you will have any power to stop what He's set in motion. His lifting doesn't come from popularity. It comes from purpose. Sometimes His lifting starts with breaking. He allows the pain, the silence, the isolation not to destroy you, but to rebuild you from the inside out. He removes your dependence on people. He teaches you how to walk by faith, not by approval. He strengthens your heart so when He places you in that next position, you don't crumble. You don't owe your success to anyone but Him, and because of that, no one can take the credit and no one can take it away. When God lifts you, people who ignored you will have to watch. People who doubted you will have to witness it. And it won't be out of revenge, it will be a testimony. Because the greatest response to betrayal is elevation, not by your own strength, not by your hustle, but by His grace. And the beauty of it is that your success won't come from forcing doors open. It'll come from staying faithful, staying humble, staying obedient, even when it hurt, even when you were confused, even when it didn't make sense. God lifts those who choose integrity over revenge, those who keep their hearts clean even after being hurt, those who don't let bitterness take root. And if you're in that place right now, still healing, still waiting, don't lose hope. Because your lifting is not being delayed, it's being prepared. And when it comes, it will be right on time. No noise, no show, just undeniable favor. So walk boldly. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Let God's hand on your life speak for itself. They hurt you, yes, but God is lifting you higher. And when He does, everyone will see that what was meant to break you only pushed you closer to your destiny.